This podcast is brought to you by Collector Legion. For all your single and gaming needs, there is no substitute. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in LA with time to play, check them out for the best in-person gaming experience this side of the Pro Tour. Welcome to Split Second Sorcerers. I'm your host with the most X returns, Isaac Sears. And today on the pod, we have someone who has competed in the Legacy Showcase thrice, paid full cost for Progenitus, and qualified for NRG Champs 2 years running. It's
the one, the only
Cigarettes After Shrek, or as you otherwise may know them, Theo Jung!
Hello. How's it going?
How we doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
All right, the people got to know, what's your favorite card to try and wheel in a limited format?
Yeah, so this one I'll go with Cube, since it's the limited format that I've been playing the most recently, namely the Vintage Cube. I would
Man of
say,
class, man of stature.
Yeah, I would probably say Zeranorb. No one wants it, and you could do some nice things with Zeranorb in Vintage
Like gain
Cube.
2 life?
Yeah, like gain 2 life a lot of times. With a Crucible, a Fast Bond, and a Zeranorb, that's infinite life and infinite mana.
Show
So,
off.
and with
More importantly...
with Ramonab. So, yeah, and then there's some other cool things you can do with it. You can put it on the stack with or you can put it into play and balance people, so you can sack all the lands with the balance on stack. Yeah, it's a pretty cool card.
As God intended.
Yeah. Whenever
What's
I
the most-
want to put Zeranorb in my Vintage Cube deck, I'm having a good time.
What's the most memorable moment or BM that you've experienced?
There was this one time when I was 13. I was playing Mono Red Goblins in my FNM, and my opponent, who was my friend, cast the card Massacre. If you don't know what Massacre does, it's 2 black. It gives -2/-2 to all creatures, and if you control a planes, you get to cast it for free. But
Exciting.
I was also playing a copy of Plateau in my deck.
Ah, no!
Of course, because goblins in that time used to splash white for things like Thalia or Swords to Plowshares or stuff like that. So my friend just massacres me, just takes his massacre,
Literally
just
and
flicks all my permanents off the table one by one in the general direction of my graveyard, and yeah.
And you go to the
funny.
graveyard, and you go to the graveyard.
Yeah.
What's the most game-changing Magic lesson you've learned over the years?
Yeah, I'd say the main one and the most frequently applied one is to just have a game plan, whether that's in constructing your deck or actually playing games of limited. So, and playing towards a game plan is probably more important than just being a perfect technical player, because if you get all your technicals correctly, that's great, but you need to actually have a goal in mind when you're playing your cards.
Gotta be
right?
headed in the right direction to get there on time.
Yeah.
If Magic stopped existing, what would you do to fill the void?
Let's see. Probably get way more jacked. I mean, I go to the gym semi-frequently now, a couple times a week, and if Magic was gone, I'd probably go every day. So I get pretty jacked.
I'm not sure if I'm happy or sad that Magic exists now.
Yeah, me neither.
What's the first Magic card you hated?
Probably Engineered Plague. I was a big Goblins lover when I was young. That was my first Legacy deck and the one that I played. I think, yeah, Engineered Plague. There was this one dude at my local store that played Enchantress. Solitary Confinement became one of my least favorite cards.
What was your first favorite deck, or need I ask?
My first favorite deck, or I guess the deck that I've played that's my favorite is probably Modern Birthing Pod, the Melira Pod version, like the 2014, 2013 variant of
Kitchen
it.
Finks, we
Yeah,
miss you.
I know. I just like a lot of like trinkety creature decks, and the card Birthing Pod is really fun to play with. Plus, it has a lot of nostalgia added to it.
What was your favorite constructed format of all time? Years, sets, categorize it how you will.
Yeah, I would probably go with the era of Legacy before Modern Horizons 1 was legal and Deathrise Shaman was banned. So like if people remember, yeah, it was a very short-lived time. It was like only for a couple months, but within that couple months, Legacy sort of hit the spotlight with the 25th anniversary Pro Tour, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that format was really great because obviously Deathrise Shaman's got a lot of stuff as viable. Um, Death and Taxes was really good. I'm pretty sure that was the last time Death and Taxes might have been really good. So, yeah.
What's the most difficult match you've ever won?
Most difficult match. Um, I've played a lot of matches, but when it comes to remembering them, I'm pretty bad at doing that.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I guess
in
the
lieu
most
of
one of the
go
most
ahead.
memorable was like this year in the PTQ in Vegas. It was
Mm.
sealed, and I was playing against Eduardo Sajkovic for my PT invite, and yeah, well, game three was like a fairly drawn out game. I drafted this like band controlling deck with two of the Wrath in that format that I got lucky enough to open in back-to-back packs. So yeah, that was an interesting match where like I sideboarded in Water Wings, which is one of the blue make a thing 4/4 flyer and hexproof after seeing double Twisted Fealty, which is the active treason in that set, and that ended
Mm.
up actually winning me the match. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
If you
That was
could
the
change,
most memorable long drawn out game I've played in the last year.
if you could change one thing about Magic, whether it be bannings, unbanning structure, what would it be?
Yeah, I've thought about this a bit, and I would probably ban like 6 cards in Modern or more currently. Yeah, because I think like, or I would just like purge the Modern Horizon sets entirely from existence. I think that's
That's a. I don't know if you know this, but it's a little bit more than 6 cards.
yeah. Well, my thought was I would purge 6 of the what I think are the biggest offenders in the format because Fury was recently banned, and I think that's just one of the things that was making people dissatisfied with the format of like having their old cards and decks obsoleted, and then the modern card pool being like homogenized. Like I don't have a problem with the modern gameplay. I just have like an issue with like a lot of these individual cards. They're just like kind of nonsense. Like I think Solitude is somewhat of a nonsense card. I think it's just like yeah, free swords and plowshares that you just get to cast if you draw it later. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, things
it's
that aren't nonsense or annoying. What's your favorite tourney venue?
hmm, favorite tournament. Oh, it'd have to be the convention center in Philly. That's in the city. That's right next to Reading Terminal Market. Yeah, the one of the best sandwiches
Popular
I've ever eaten.
choice.
Yeah, I'm sure multiple people have said this, but the Reading Terminal Market is home to one of the best sandwiches in the world. It's the Didick's like roasted pork sandwich. It's like a slow cooked pork that's like dipped in like jus or like a light gravy with like broccoli raw, some cheese, and some peppers if you want them, and it's delicious. So,
I'm glad I haven't had
yeah.
dinner yet because you're getting me hungry. Well, on the flip reverse of something that sounds so delicious, what's the worst card you've ever registered in a constructed tournament?
Mm. You know, I'd have. There's been some pretty bad ones. um,
Don't be
let,
shy.
let me let me comb through my memory bank and see which one's actually the worst. Oh, I think I was like playing this like blue white Stoneforge deck at one point in like 2013. I want to say, like when I was like pretty young, and one of
Mm.
the things that I would want to do is like assemble Cauldra, like the helm of Cauldra, the sword of Cauldra,
Get it all in
and
there.
like the helmet, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I included all of those three cards in my like otherwise totally okay like Stoneforge Mystic deck.
Now they just made it easy for you.
Yeah,
They just made them all into one card.
they really did.
All right, so my producer just informed me we've reached our lighting budget for this episode. So to end this pod, we got to know socks and sandals or death by firing squad.
I would probably go with socks and sandals. I don't really want to step
A
in front of the firing
true
squad
mad
anytime soon.
lad. All
I've
right, my
done
friend, as
socks
we
and
come to a
sandals before. Yeah, it's not that bad. You get some weird looks, but it's not that bad.
as we come to a close here, do you have any upcoming tournaments the fans can sweat you in, or perhaps a place where the good people can find you or your content?
Yeah, I have Eternal Weekend coming up this weekend. Gonna play Paper Vintage for the first time ever, and Legacy, which is always a favorite. Um, got the Pro Tour coming up in February. Pretty excited for that. And yeah, as for Twitter, just at where'd my jewel go, or if you look up Theo Jung, it's probably there. Um, yeah, I don't really make content, so anything I post publicly about Magic will be on there.
There you go. Well, that does it for this episode. Thanks to my guests, Theo Jung, Richard Garfield, and you, the viewer. If y'all have any guests or questions you'd like to see asked on this program, feel free to let me know in the comments or just hit me up on Twitter at LikeIkes. And do remember, folks, it's handshake, sign the slip, and then throw your O3 deck in the trash, not the other way around.